Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hao, chunushubme, washmale, wahai guzaimus, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shumachatore, ahlan wa sahlan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, bhalli kare aaya, hosh gal de nanaya sayo, khuyamora, chivat tochi, haljut, kale mera khairutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning. Once again, on a very rainy morning over here in Islamabad. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and with me, I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my very well-learned colleague, who happens to be Miss Hajra Satti. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But first things first, hello Hajra, assalamu alaikum. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. We are witnessing you in a different attire, in a different get-up, in a different personality, and certainly it's a fresh breather, right?
Yeah, it is. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah for that. And now we will move on to very interesting aspect. And like Shahzad mentioned, that weather is always a conversation starter. But now today we are observing the anniversary of the Operation Swift Retort. Prime Minister has lauded the armed forces for defending the borders. Prime Minister Mohammed Sharif said that on February 27, 2019, Pakistan Air Force sent a clear message to the enemy that Pakistan possesses full capability to protect its borders. Paying tribute to the courage, bravery and professionalism of Pakistan Armed Forces on the occasion of the 6th anniversary of Operation Swift Retort, Prime Minister said that our forces gave a befitting reply to India's aggression in the region, proving that our soldiers are always ready for the security of Pakistan. In Operation Swift Retort, Pakistan Air Force, with its military capabilities and unwavering determination to protect the homeland, gave a clear message to the enemy that Pakistani armed forces are fully capable of countering any kind of aggression for the security of their country, and added that entire nation, including himself, is proud of its brave forces. The great sacrifices of Pakistani armed forces for the sake of national security can never be forgotten. Prime Minister emphasized Pakistan has always strived to promote regional peace, but whenever an attempt has been made to undermine Pakistan's national security and stability, Pakistan armed forces and entire nation have stood as a strong and unyielding wall. In observing this 6th anniversary of Operation Swift Retort, we are paying tribute to the valiant armed forces of Pakistan for demonstrating their resilience and resolve against Indian attempt to carry out a misadventure. More details in this report.
अपने सर पे बांध कफन वतन की पुकार पे खड़े पुरखतर ये रास्ते लहू से हैं भरे अपने सर पे बांध कफन वतन की पुकार पे खड़े कहते हैं वतन के ये तलवार की जो धार पे पले दुश्मनों को फिर से चीरते ये शेर है चले कसम है हिलाल की भले जो मौत भी गले लगे गाजी जान हरदरम ने सारे मुस्तफा है फिर बड़े ओ दुश्मनों तू ये सुन
And to commemorate the 6th anniversary of the Operation Swift Retort, ISPR released the song Dushmana Sun. And certainly, I do believe that each and every planet on this very map, Hajra, knows that Pakistan serves a cup of tea, which is really fantastic, but you really do not want us to offer you a cup of tea, which is going to be fantastic. Well, other than that, what certainly does not look like as if it's our cup of tea is cricket for now. So I'm going to take you back to Champions Trophy, where Afghanistan actually shocked for all the cricketing nations who are out there, as Afghanistan versus England Live Score Champions Trophy 2025. England were knocked out of the ICC Champions Trophy, so we're not the only ones. After they suffered an 8-run defeat against tournament debutants Afghanistan in a Group B match on Wednesday. Opener Ibrahim Zadran smashed 177 of 146 balls, the highest score in the tournament's history, to help Afghanistan overcome Jofra Archer's 3 early wickets and rack up 325 for 7. Joe Root's classy 120 kept England alive in the chase until the 46th over, but Afghanistan chipped away with regular wickets, eventually bowling them out for 317 with 1 ball left in the innings. Azmatullah Omarzai was the pick of the Afghanistan bowlers, claiming 5 for 58. Afghanistan stunned England by 8 runs in the 8th match of the ICC Champions Trophy at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore. England knocked out of the ICC Champions Trophy after losing both their matches, just like Pakistan. But what is Pakistan doing right now? I think that's the question, because Pakistan will be facing Bangladesh today, and it's going to be a dead rubber because, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we still cannot make it or qualify for the semis of the ICC Champions Trophy. And in addition to this, I was waiting, in fact, that you know, that we really need to hear from Mr. Aqib Javed, because he's the one who's at the helm of affairs. So he says that Pakistan cricket team head coach, obviously Aqib Javed, said that cricket is a game of challenges and every match holds great significance. The upcoming match against Bangladesh will be tough, but we must stay focused and move forward. Where are we moving forward? You know, gladly that we didn't actually had to go to any other country to play Champions Trophy, so वापस नहीं आना पड़ेगा अब कम से कम अपने मुल्क में. Holding a news conference in Rawalpindi Stadium, the head coach Aqib Javed acknowledged that although the team was selected with high hopes, the expected performance did not materialize. He stressed the importance of experienced players in key matches, noting that the absence of Saim Ayub and Fakhar Zaman impacted the team performance. But in addition to this, I think what we really need to kind of figure out over here is that, for example, if we are talking about how Aqib Javed Saab is now, that we need to be focused and we need to move forward. And a lot of people have been blaming the chairman, Pakistan Cricket Board, Mr. Mohsin Naqvi. And I do know for a fact, and it's a very authentic news, that even a day prior to when the deadline was for making any changes within the squad, Mohsin Naqvi Saab himself had actually asked the selection committee if they think that, you know, somebody needs to be replaced. And the selection committee said, no, you know, we are fine and we're good to go. So that's the kind of results that you're going to reap. But in perspective of Afghanistan and England and Pakistan to face Bangladesh, we're very lucky that we've been joined by a sports expert, Muhammad Awais. Hello Awais, assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you feeling today?
Walaikum salam. How are you, Shahzad Bhai? Feeling a little bit happy that you would see last time Pakistan playing Bangladesh, but I don't know, the rain might interrupt the match today.
Our spirits are really, really attached to this match because we have lost, and I think it's very, very unfortunate. But again, Awais, I would want your analysis. I mean, there's a lot of soul searching to do. Obviously, there's no denying the fact. And I think the top thing that stands out in the conversation is meritocracy is not being ensured. There's a lot of talent. I think Pakistanis, this region has a rich, rich talent in terms of the cricketing field, but somehow we are not polishing that talent, and instead you know, people who have connections, who are well-to-do, who are well-connected, they are being approached, they are being taken into the cricket team over the criteria of the meritocracy. So certainly, what are some of the other reasons that you see Pakistan is doing so bad, and that too on the home ground?
Look, there's no talent. Let's be frank. I mean, when we speak about the talent what Pakistan has in the domestic structure, there's no talent coming up for Pakistan. Yeah, you see the talent for limited overs. That's T20, because work with the under-19 specifically. When you work with the youth cricket, they more focus on T20s because they know that's a short way to get themselves marketized in the cricketing world. Unfortunately, they don't go for longer formats. The biggest issue right now we have been discussing on, because Shahzad Bhai and me on the other platform, we used to discuss the same thing, that this is the time again. Now we are just sitting up here and thinking that what squad should be for the Champions Trophy. It's unfortunate from an year or 1.5 years, I would say, the squad which we were carrying, that was in our mind that this would be the best squad for the Champions Trophy, and everyone started to rate Pakistan as one of the best team. I mean, unfortunately, the Pakistan selection committee, rightly pointed by Shahzad Bhai, because even there was news coming up that before the 24 hours, even the chairman of Pakistan Cricket Board requested the selection committee, not just the selection committee, even the mentors of the Pakistan domestic, to sit down and rethink about the squad. 1.5 hour meeting, nothing had happened now. So they just came up with no answers. I mean, with no clues that this is the final squad, there are no changes. They are accountable for this. I mean, it's just not the selection committee. Even the mentors are accountable for the thing what happened with the Pakistan team. Akib Javed sitting in a press conference yesterday. Literally, I was confused to see whether is he in his senses. What he's talking about, like Naseem has played 23 matches. Shaheen has not played many matches for international of Pakistan. So how can you say there are many experienced fast bowlers for Pakistan? Come on, man. They are playing international for Pakistan. They are experienced. I mean, they are there from past 3 to 4 years for Pakistan. They haven't been able to win a big tournament for you. That's a reality. You need to understand that. Secondly, when you speak about Irfan Niazi, what he was saying on, I'm quoting his words. He said that Irfan Niazi performance was not up to that mark. He played more T20. If I count about Usman Khan, he played T20. He never played ODI cricket from many long time. He was the part of the team. Fahim Ashraf, he was out for 2 years. He was the part of the Pakistan team. What excuses are giving on? So that's the thing I'm saying. The Pakistan cricket, where it is going, it is the time. The Pakistan Cricket Board chairman, he needs to sit in the office. He needs to call all these guys and see what happened. I mean, they're accountable for what results Pakistan has produced. It is, I mean, everyone has speaking over here that Pakistan cricket, building up a stadium was a great idea, but we never build up a team to compete at this highest level. Even the Indian journalist Vikrant Gupta, I was listening to him yesterday.
Exactly, a where's point taken. But now I think obviously let's not steal the spotlight from Afghanistan. Now imagine that they were the ICC Champions Trophy debutants. Number one, number two. Now they have qualified for the semis as well. They have made sure that England is not going to qualify for the semis. So I think let's make it about Afghanistan, because imagine that Afghanistan has always given us a tough time, and their impeccable execution of their plan is something that I would want to talk about. Not just that, batting first, for them to kind of score 325 for the loss of 7 wickets. How do you rate them? Not just that. Imagine that. First of all, obviously it was Ibrahim Zadran with 177. Then their skipper coming down with another 41, and the 340s down there in the middle order. So how do you rate Afghanistan's batting yesterday? And looked like it was flawless.
Shazad bhai, the thing is that because I've played a lot of matches against Afghanistan, I've seen this Afghanistan team rising from the down. And hats off to Kabir Khan, who coached the Afghanistan team. Rashid Latif and now Yunus Khan is in the dugout. And that shows the result, how they are produced. They have been playing one kind of style cricket. I mean, whenever I remember, even in the qualifiers, when in UAE specifically, when we used to play, and the style of cricket, what they carry is the same style, what they're carrying on. But one thing is good to see in this Afghanistan team right now, it's that they have got in the middle order stability. Like if it crumbles, the inning crumbles up in the start of the innings, like it happened yesterday, 3 early wickets. But Zadran, the way he played, I mean, Ibrahim Zadran, he just, the strike rate was brilliant, 93 runs. He just continued the innings till the last over, what was required. Even in the middle order, Hashmatullah was brilliant, I would say, the way he just contributed with him. That's what Afghanistan intent was shown. And that's what Afghanistan team is, I mean, because in this couple of 1 or 2 years, if you speak, I mean, they have beaten all the big teams. England, Australia, they have beaten Pakistan. That shows what they're capable of. And especially hats off to the fast bowler who took 5 wickets, Umar Zai, because if you talk about that youngster, I remember his journey has been one of the most toughest journeys for Afghanistan. Was never ever rated.
Afghanistan team, journey of the entire Afghanistan team has been nothing short of a dream journey. But in addition to this, I think on the other hand, if we are to kind of speak about England, England is one of those teams who've actually introduced the concept of baseball anyways. So with Joe Root, while standing on the crease, looked like as if they're pretty much still in the game. Why do you think that England actually lost their match while they were still in the game? Do you think that it was when Overton actually got back, because Overton was still making it look like as if he's going to chase it?
That shot what Overton played, I mean, on the slower one was not the shot required at that time, because you were almost winning the match because the way he was playing on with Jofra Archer. But Shazad, if you just talk about the English team, the biggest flaw what I feel is that from 2 to 3 tournaments, I would say, which they have been knocked out. I mean, they specifically are playing one kind of style cricket, that's flamboyant cricket, what they're known for. I mean, they never had that stability in the middle order, which can carry the big innings. Joy Root, one of the fabulous players, he scored 100 yesterday, what was required at that time, the way he just built up that innings. But if you talk about Overton, if you talk about Josh Butler was going brilliant. I mean, that was the point where they had to play a big innings. But the 30 overs of Afghanistan, especially the spinners, they did dominate really well. I mean, because of the Lahore wicket, when you talk about Lahore wicket, it's a batting track where you can score big runs and even you can chase, because even the Australia match you saw, it was a big chase from Australia. So it's a batting track, but performing at that level against England, because even if it's a 325 score, everyone thought that England would be favourites because England has got some firepower in the batting order. But that 30 overs, I would say, especially of Noor Ahmed, The guy coming up, replacing one of the senior spinners, has done a brilliant job for Afghanistan. If you talk about the others.
Congratulations to Afghanistan, West. I know that we are very excited about Afghanistan's victory, and certainly we need to take a lot from here. But very quickly, towards the end, one last question. That is, how do you see Pakistan and Bangladesh facing? Because Bangladesh's assistant coach press conference yesterday actually spoke about how, you know, they will still be causing trouble for Pakistan. And imagine that if Pakistan and Bangladesh are playing a match away in Rawalpindi and Pakistan loses to Bangladesh, are we still, do you think that we still need to play the game or follow the game or think good about the game?
I think we've already imagined that.
Yeah.
See, I mean, Shahzad, obviously, I know whatever happened, but you would love to finish on a higher note. I mean, I know whatever the situation has happened on, but if you talk about the Bangladesh team, we need to appreciate them. See, I know they didn't win a match, but they have given really tough time to the opponents. I mean, it's a totally different Bangladesh team, what you see. I mean, I know in the middle order, when you talk about the middle order, Jakir specifically, I would say he needs to play up the order. There are some struggle phases for Bangladesh, but Pakistan, I would say, will try the level best to finish up on a high note, because Pindi wicket, you know, seam position, seam, especially speed seamers will dominate over here. Nahid Rana, remember, if you remember in the test cricket, he was very effective against Pakistan. So it would be interesting to watch on what Pakistan has a plan over here. We are out of the Champions Trophy, but I would love to watch Usman Khan, Fahim Ashraf to get a chance over here. What Pakistan Cricket Board wanted, I mean, so at least get a chance. I mean, give them a chance over here so we can see that you guys wanted them in the squad and how they're performing well.
Exactly,
Right.
that's wonderful.
Thank you so much, Avas, for enlightening us about the cricketing, the world of the cricketing, and certainly we need to do a lot of soul searching, and this is a game which is really...
Or talent searching.
Exactly. Thank you so much for completing the sentence. But now we will move on to very interesting news, and that is Bushra Ansari has been honoured by the UK Parliament for her drama contributions. The actress took the opportunity to highlight the role of Pakistani dramas in promoting the country's rich culture. The event was organised by British Asian Society and Samara Events UK and was hosted by the MP Yasmin Qureshi. Ceremony was attended by several distinguished figures. Bushra Ansari took to Instagram and talked about how dramas play a vital role in promoting the country's culture, traditional attire and Urdu language in the UK and across the world. And she expressed her gratitude for the recognition and dedication and dedicated the award to the artists, community and storytellers who have worked tirelessly to represent Pakistan's rich heritage on the global stage. And I think this is PTV's tradition that we call someone who is a really respected figure, and she has earned her name through her hard work as Apa, right? So
Yeah.
Apa is the title that we...
Bushra Apa.
Yeah, so she is a Bushra Apa, and soon we will be talking to her about her contributions.
Exactly, and not
inshallah.
just that, I think, you know, I'm really thankful to Allah Almighty that I've had the opportunity to work with her as well. She's
Alhamdulillah.
great on sets, and
Wow.
she's a wonderful lady. But I think, you know, while I was driving towards work and while I was looking at the
Right.
script, I was like, okay, you know, imagine that, for you to kind of achieve whatever you want to achieve in life is a never-ending journey. You know, and you know, when I looked at Bushra Ansari Saiba, maybe the late Umar Sharif Saab, Muin Akhtar Saab, they kept on achieving so many things, even when it was almost time for them to kind of just sit back home and relax, you know, so and bringing so much good name to Pakistan.
Absolutely.
And it gave me hope. And for all of those youngsters who are out there, it should actually give you hope that, you know, that it's a never-ending process. So please make sure that you always stay at it, which is why another micro artist sets new record with tiny Lego sculpture. Now imagine that an artist from the United Kingdom has entered the Guinness Book of World Record by creating the smallest sculpture. David Linden, who is an engineer, achieved the world record for the red Lego piece, which measures in millimeters. He claims that his sculpture is about the same size as a human white blood cell. David Linden has also created miniature pieces of art, including 3 microscopic recreations of Van Gogh masterpieces on a watch mechanism, which sold for £90,000. And in addition to this, Hajra, the most fascinating part is that imagine that I was a part of one Guinness World Record, and we broke the record, which was for a drive-in cinema at the Parkview City in Islamabad. And now we're going to attempt another Guinness World Record, where we have the tallest horse mascots in the world.
Oh,
and that's with the Blue World.
That's very interesting, and Allah Ta'ala, Inshallah Ta'ala, I hope when you do, then we will talk about it. But Shahzad, there was a baby, and the baby wasn't off the line, and the video really gives you jitters, but it's such a wonderful spectacle to behold. So baby stands still in the off a line at a zoo, while the lion puts its predatory instincts on full display. Towering over the tiny baby, the lion can be seen desperately scratching the glass with that separates them. And I mean, look at the wonders. And I think the Lion King is also playing with that baby, if you can see in the video. And baby is really happy. He's hooting, he or she is hooting and clapping and enjoying the wonder of the nature. And this is something I think a baby can do, because a baby is very pure. But now we will move on to another segment, and that is Pakistan State's effort for the poverty alleviation and for catering to the people who are living particularly in the rural areas, how to bring them in that net and provide them the social safety that they deserve as the citizens. So in order to unfold this conversation, we are very glad that we have been joined by ISRAR Muhammad Khan Saab. He happens to be the DG of National Center for Rural Development. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Hajra and Shahzad. I am honored, frankly.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's an absolute pleasure. So, sir, let's unfold our conversation. Tell us about this program. How are you catering towards this poverty alleviation goal, and also bringing the social safety net to the people living in the villages?
NCRD, as far as NCRD is concerned, it was established back in 1983, and since then it is serving the nation by capacity building to the nation building departments from throughout the country. Not only government departments, but also people from civil society organizations, people from like farmers association, other community people. So in a way, NCRD is actually building the capacity of service deliverers, the people who deliver any services from government side or from non-governmental side. So we build capacity of those service deliverers in doing their jobs for the people, for poverty alleviation, for rural development.
So which is why I believe that it is of utmost importance for us to understand that if we are to kind of speak of rural development, what key factors are we talking about over here? Are we talking about infrastructure, education, probably making sure that economic hubs are being built within those rural developmental areas where it's important. So so services will come later, but let's talk about what factors are we working on, or the government's working on.
Thank you very much for putting up this question. For a lot of people, a lot of people mix agriculture very much with the rural development. Though agriculture is one of the biggest components of rural development, but rural development is much more than just an agriculture. And also, if you ask me what are the issues first in the rural development in Pakistan, the first and foremost is, frankly speaking, very less talked about is our population explosion. Yeah. It is putting tremendously huge pressure on already meager resources that we have, not only in urban areas but in rural areas. In many brackets, rural and urban development has mixed up.
True.
So and particularly the issue of rural people, when you talk of them, the bigger issue is that they are least interested to engage into anything that is rural. True. Everyone wants to shift to the cities, urban centers. And this is not a new phenomenon for Pakistan, and it is not unique to Pakistan, elsewhere in the world also, but this is one of the bigger issues.
But sir, there is a reason for that. Now, and the reason being obviously is that unfortunately that for a longer period of time the rural development was neglected. And,
exactly.
And for them to kind of have those economic hubs is something that they have missed out on. Now, in terms of good education, good health care, being able to live the life that everybody else is living, everybody wants that. Now, how do you think that NCRD now will play a role in making sure that there's not a lot of movement or migration from the rural centers to urban centers in order for somebody to do the jobs that are really necessary and important for our livelihood?
At NCRD, what we are doing for the last couple of years in this respect is that we are trying to highlight the type of opportunities that rural areas actually present, and particularly for the rural youth, because rural youth is again, they consider to employ themselves into any rural type of opportunities little lesser than the ones present in urban areas. So what we are doing to for the youth is to make them cherish the indigenousness of the things. For example, first of all to love the indigenous areas, to love nature, to love to engage with the agriculture, with livestock, with other handicrafts, things like that, which people think that this is the job of someone else, this is the job of so much downtrodden people. So we are trying to, for example, put into the youth's mind that it is not that, and for this purpose, we are like working on the indigenousness. We are working to cherish the local culture. We are working on various employable skills.
Sir, it's a livelihood. How do you think the livelihood will get better?
Yes, very, very good question. Because we are sitting in the National Center for Rural Development and we receive people from all over the country.
True.
The big thing is that a lot of employable skills are stigmatized in our country. For example, poultry farming, goat farming, meat shops, things like that, Though rural youth can, beautify these type of employments,
and
also modernize them as well as it is there elsewhere in the world as also. So, first of all, we are trying to, what should I say, colorize those skills and those businesses so that the stigma should remove. And there is a lot to do with the education system also, because a lot of educated rural youth, right from the primary school up to the university, when we meet them, particularly the university students, for example, we host internees of agricultural universities at NCRD. I just try my best to fetch them in the summers. What I have seen is that they have never worked in field. They are spending 6 to 8 years, forced to 6 to 8 years in the universities, but they have not been ever into the field by themselves. So we are also pressing upon the universities through our different programs that please make it a ratio-wise thing. Like, for example, in-class ratio should be only 30 to 25%, and more into the fields. It is because of this reason that rural youth coming out from the universities is quite not in touch with the on-ground realities.
Absolutely, sir. But I think when we further delve or dig deeper into this conversation, and whenever you talk about the poverty elevation, especially with regards to rural areas, is there under the auspices of your program, is there any particular conditional cash transfers or asset transfers? For example, you're going to transfer the money or the asset if they register their CNIC number, right? Or if they register for their national ID card. And in doing so, they are also going to witness, they're coming under the net of that CNIC registration, and in the same manner, and there are lots of other programs. So how can you do the woman empowerment? So instead of giving money to the head of the family, you can do it with the woman. And if you empower the woman, you are empowering the entire household, right? So are you thinking on these lines? Is there any such sort of work being done? Please enlighten us.
Yes. When we organize our own capacity building programs, what is the purpose actually is to get the community people in touch with the service delivery organizations. So what we do is to in each our program, first of all, we tell our clients or trainees as to what are the public policies and strategies and initiatives available for the rural communities. And how can those rural communities get in touch with those organizations and take the benefits? How many people are left behind? We sort of like make them realize this, and then our job is to become a bridge between the service delivery organizations of the country and the communities. So each our capacity building program has 3 major components. Number one, what are the public policies on which program we are running the capacity building? What are the public policies on that? What are the practices on ground on that? Then what are the issues? And what are the world experiences to resolve those issues? So this is the job we are doing. Either it is cash transfer or other programs of small credits, so that
And sir, very quickly, because I want to squeeze as much information as from you from possible. So by wrapping up this segment, I would like to ask you, how are you ensuring accountability in this entire structure, because we have seen that there's always some sort of leakage in the system, right? I mean, there is a money which is spent on the program, but it does not reaches there for its true recipients. How are you ensuring that, making sure that there is really poverty alleviation
Exactly,
going on
and
the
in
ground?
addition to this, if you do come across a policy which you think hinders in terms of the rural development, how would you work on that?
Yeah, actually, you are talking about transparency.
Yep.
And it has a lot to do with the transparency. And quickly after that comes the accountability. Lack of accountability now has become the bigger reason than transparency itself. So, we are trying our best, as I said, that to sensitize the communities as to how can they reach out to the services provided by the government, and if there is a leakage or something like that,
Yep.
how can they report to that? And then again, it is the job of the organizations that do the accountability. We are trying to make it sure that communities know what services governments and other intergovernmental or non-governmental bodies has to offer, and how best benefit they can take out of those services. And then in between, definitely there are certain segments of transparency and accountability into that. But overall, the problem of corruption unfortunately is there, particularly when it is to talk of far-flung rural areas, far-flung rural communities, and service delivery to those rural communities.
Absolutely. Corruption is a menace. I think everyone in the world is grappling with that. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to our show, for shedding light on such sort of developmental programs, specifically tailored to cater to the needs of the people who are living in the rural areas and for poverty alleviation. So in a very interesting development, India has lost the battle for Basmati against Pakistan. Basmati rice, which is known for its quality and unique aroma and is popular in the world, comes from the region of India and Pakistan, and India has designated or applied for the geographical indication, but the Australian courts has ruled it out, and Pakistan has won that battle. And how will that unfold into our export programs within the Pakistan, and what does that mean for Pakistan? Because a lot of people are saying that European Union hasn't taken any action yet, but following the ruling coming from the Australia, European Union will also follow the same footsteps. So how will this conversation unroll in the field of the rice production, because Pakistan is the second largest exporter of the Basmati rice to the world. It has a very, very rich and high quality. So in order to unfold this conversation, we are very glad that we have been joined by the chairman, REAP, Malik FAISAL Jahangir Saab. Assalamu alaikum, sir, and thank you so much for joining us.
Ji, walaikum salam ji, thank you so much.
It's a momentous occasion for Pakistan, for New Zealand and Australia to kind of recognize. We're looking forward to European Union as well. First of all, what is the significance for us to get the PGI back to Pakistan?
Right.
So the Basmati product, see, this comes from both of the countries. The world knows this. There is no need. There is no need to justify ourselves. The historical data for Basmati dates back to 1766. So much so that the historical data that begins from 1766, it clearly states, and the data proves that Basmati originates from district Hafizabad, which is present-day Pakistan.
Exactly.
Right. And Faisal, whenever we talk about the Basmati rice and whenever we talk about this race between, it was initiated by the India, obviously, and a lot of people are saying that European Union will also follow the same suit. So even if the decision was not in the Pakistan favors, what sort of implications would we have? Were we not able to export it? How will that unfold in the markets in the real terms? Please explain to the layperson within the audiences.
See, so what happens is basically this such protection, the geotagging, this was the law of GI. So in Pakistan, in the early 2020, the law was made for the geographical indication, and India had filed its application in mid of 2020, and it was notified by the European Union on 16th of September 2020. Pakistan filed its opposition, and Pakistan denied the claims that India is the sole owner of Basmati rice. So India similarly today has yet again in many countries. For example, as we are seeing for Australia and New Zealand, similar is the story that's going to happen in Europe. The India's claim for having the sole Basmati is absolutely absurd. I mean, this is India is just trying to use its muscle, be it the financial muscle or the larger quantity of production that they have. Eventually, it will be owned by both of the countries, and Pakistan has a larger right to it because historical data, even the Indian historical data, proves that this is originally being harvested and being produced from Pakistan. There are so many reports, and I would say the Kala Shakaku Rice Research Institute's report from 1927 to 1932, the 5 years report. The conclusion of that report was that PK370 is the mother of all basmatis, and it's grown when India's significance of this such protection is that once we have this GI law and the product is protected, this means that the unique characteristics of this product can only be harvested or planted in the same way that it has been geographically tagged for, which means that the plains between Indus and Chenab, this large area that we have, the foothills of Himalayas, this basmati can only be grown here. I would date back to one of the incidents that we saw in the USA in 2003 and 2004, where in Texas, USA tried to harvest basmati and plant basmati. They failed to do so. They had to name that product as Texmati. So basmati can only be grown in the certificate geographical area that Pakistan holds.
Exactly. And Faisal, in addition to this, obviously, if you do remember, back in 2024, we were in Karachi and there was TDAP, Rice Export Association of Pakistan, and we were celebrating $4 billion of export of rice. And it's wonderful and it's phenomenal to see how, REAP has been doing such wonderful job. Imagine that our IT exports are at somewhat $3.2 billion and rice has been exported. So it's a great news. How do you think that this geo-tagging will actually help Pakistan improve its exports in terms of basmati rice or any other rice that we produce for agriculture?
See, the Rice Export Association of Pakistan, see, majority of the rice exporters of Pakistan, the figure goes up to $6 billion because these very rice exporters are also exporting yellow maize and sesame seed in large quantities. So we hold this quantum of $6 billion of exports. So the significance of having a geotag, see, when we are branding our rice, basmati rice, so we then get eligible to tag this product. So for example, French wines, or I would say the cheese from France, or the particular the unique characteristics of these products. They tag the product in a way which gains them a premium. So basmati is already a product which gains a premium. I mean, it's sold at very expensive prices around the world. So once we have this tag in place, this will be an additional authentication that yes, this is the true delicacy coming from Pakistan, which is grown in a certain area in a certain manner, and at the same time, this is the product we should be proud of.
Right. And Faisal, what are some of the missing links do you see whenever we talk about the export of the rice? Because Pakistan is the second largest exporter of the rice, and the rice quality is one of the finest in the world. So how do you see that missing gaps can be linked, and how do you want to utilize our platform to, tell this message across, that how can we fill that?
So now what we are working on currently is we have achieved higher volumes of export. So we are now the fourth largest exporter in the world, and in the next 5 years we expect to become the third largest exporter. Our area under cultivation is ever growing. Even this year we saw the highest area under cultivation in the history of Pakistan. So how we can grow this further is absolutely value addition. There are countries in this world which import our byproducts. So I would refer to China. China imports 100% broken rice from Pakistan in very large quantities. What do they do with that? They process and make products like ethanol or rice crisps, or they have more than 3,000 products made out of rice. So this is what the rice sector is working on nowadays. That we are planning to gain more value out of these products rather than exporting 100% broken rice. Why don't we make products out of that broken rice and then export and gain a premium out of this? So this is where we need to work, and I would really want PTV to express globally that we have the best quality rice and we have the best quality byproduct available to process it further and to gain more value out of the products that we have.
Exactly. And in addition to this, obviously, so where you have actually mentioned that, where we have had a record area of which was under rice cultivation this time around. I think, are we working towards more of research where we still, within that whatever limited resources or area that is available to us, that we could actually produce more basmati rice or more products, probably which are going to come from rice as well? Do you think that there's research and development taking place, under your auspices?
See, we are certainly developing new varieties. Research is currently being led by the private sector. We have a wonderful company, Guard Agriculture Research and Services, who have now introduced new basmati varieties. At the same time, Kala Shakaku Rice Research Institute, Salinity Rice Research Institute of Pindipatiya, Dokri Rice Research Institute in Central Sindh, Zarai University, Faisalabad, Lums University, Lahore, all of these institutions are working endlessly to improve our varieties, a higher yielding variety and a variety which is more resilient to the climate change. We are working on all of this, but we expect starting from the next year, we will have very exciting varieties coming up, which do have a very good average grain length. They have a very high, I would say that a very high output for the farmers. And at the same time, it's supporting the millers as well.
Right, and Faisal, you highlighted a very important point within your conversation, and that is the climate change. So we've seen in Pakistan, and rice is a product or a material or a crop that requires a lot of water and the sunshine at the same time. It is called one of the greediest plant of the crop ever, right? Because of the conditions it requires. So how do you think we can protect Pakistani rice, from the vagaries of this climate change, and considering the fact that we are so vulnerable to these disruptions in the weather pattern? You've witnessed how there was such a dry period of the time within the Pakistan, and now we are having some rainfalls, but I don't think so they are enough to cater towards our crop or the rice yield. So how do you think we can do that?
So for this particular segment, the rice exporters are working in line with the farmers. The majority of the Pakistan's area under cultivation is conventional farming. We are educating the farmer to move from the conventional farming to mechanized farming. Once we go towards the mechanized farming, so what are we saving at in terms of the climate change? The water usage currently in the mechanized farming is being wasted, because of the irregular farming practices. Once we shift towards the mechanized rice transplanters, the upgraded machinery, a better seed, laser level fields. So these are the things that we need to educate the farmer. What impact will this have? Just by moving from conventional farming to mechanized farming, number one, we increased our yields by at least 50% with the same amount of land. At the same time, we save around 30% of water, which is a huge number for a product like rice.
Right, and thank you so much, Faisal, for being on our show, for talking about such an important topic and the victory that Pakistan gained in the courts of Australia, where we have now registered our basmati rice in terms of a geographical indication, a GI tag. And with that, we are wrapping up our segment. Until next time, it's a goodbye. Allah
Exactly,
Hafiz.
and don't forget to write to us, ladies and gentlemen, at worldthismorning@ptv.com.pk. Until next time, look after yourselves. And we hope that everybody's preparing for Ramadan. Big cans of ketchups are coming in, or oil for pakoras and basin and flour and whatnot. Yeah, so I think everybody's excited over here. I think in all the 52 Muslim countries, everybody's excited for the arrival of Ramadan. So look out yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. The best part is that we will be doing a dedicated transmission, that too for Sahur and Iftar in the holy month of Ramadan. So please make sure that you stay tuned with PT World, because this is where we will be changing your perspective. Until next time, look out for yourselves. Good morning. Have a great day.
Good morning.